Hi, my name is Rich Levy. I am class of 91. I graduated from the College of Human Ecology. I came to Cornell in 1987, and I guess it was a rather conservative time in American history. Ronald Reagan was president. I think it was the era of the yuppie, and even coming from New York City, there was a sense that homosexuality was something deviant and perverted and shameful. That just it was something that it was engaging in negative behavior, and you had a choice. So that there was that you were choosing something. It wasn't something about who you were. That was natural and normal. And I'd known I'd had experience, or I'd feelings for other boys in high school, but just from what I had read, and I think also the body of literature at the time and the understanding, well, it was normal for people to have same-sex feelings, especially adolescents, but that it was really something that was going to pass, and that even by then Kinsey had done his studies, and the sense that I'm going to get the exact nature of the idea wrong, but that 1 in 3 men had some sort of homosexual, homoerotic experience, and it was just going to be a passing phase. Coming to Cornell, where there were just the air was brimming with sex, and my dorm was probably not that dissimilar from other dorms. It seemed like a brothel, but it was very much a heterosexual brothel, and I just felt completely alienated. Yet at the same time, with a lot of attractive men on campus, I couldn't really deny my feelings. I was trying to suppress, I think, who I was. I had this vision of myself as this nice Jewish boy from Queens who was going to grow up and get married and have 2.2 children. And I guess every step along the way, I was actually talking with another friend of mine here who's from my class. She had a very different experience, I think, just because of her own constitution. She was much more accepting of herself and was all right to be radical. But I think I had an idea that I wanted to have a certain type of Cornell experience. Being queer was not something that I had wanted. I mean, it was something that just happened. It just, for whatever reasons, biological, sociological, I think we still don't quite know everything that makes somebody with one orientation or another. But I'd added this idea, like I said earlier, and even the process of exploring was very painful for me, because I had certain ideas about who I was going to be, and even, let's say, doing some reading on sexual orientation was just one more step in my story that was something that I was resisting. I had gone to Gannett because I was confused. Gannett's the health center here. I went to their counseling services, and the counselor I spoke to, I think it was a reasonable suggestion. He said I should go to the Commons, and they have a bookstore where I think there was an alternative bookstore, and they had materials on homosexuality. And I think I even said to him, well, gee, I don't think that's something I could do, because even that step of doing that was somehow admitting that I was a certain way. But it just came to a point, I guess my first semester, junior year, that I'd made a lot of mistakes along the way to the right path. I guess one of the most salient things I did that was in retrospect, a big mistake for a variety of reasons, was I pledged a fraternity. And I think they were pleasant guys, but it was a heterosexist institution, and even as I think there were some fairly openly queer people in the fraternity, it was still, again, I think it was the ethos of the time. It was treated rather oddly, like, okay, so and so was seen holding hands with this other guy, and just kind of shrug their shoulders and put their hands up as if, well, all right, just definitely not the relatively embracing environment of 2014. I just was in such agony. It was just got to a point where, even if I had an impulse of attraction towards somebody, I was just trying to squelch it so much that it was overwhelming. It was taking a tremendous toll on my mental health. I remember having a panic attack in Uris Library, and I actually, after I'd done some reading on the subject, some rather outdated reading. It was actually, I had just started therapy with a therapist long term, and again gave me a suggestion I should go to the library, and at that point I was able to, but this book was talking about how you should be changing your sexual orientation. I think it was even written by a psychologist, because there was a time where, and probably some folks still do believe this, that this is the idea that it is a deviance, and that if you try hard enough, that you are able to change your sexual orientation. And I actually myself believe that people can adopt themselves. I mean, we have hundreds of years of history of men marrying women, or women marrying men when they were actually attracted to the same sex and having children. So I think there is a possibility, but I think it really comes at a tremendous psychic cost if you're at all a thinking person. So I left Uris Hall, and I just remember rushing down the arts quad, walking as fast as I could to try to get this panic attack out of my system. And I think I made it as far as Martha Van. It was during finals, and I was really just incredibly stressed out. And I don't know, somehow I found the strength and the wisdom, and it was a clear night, and I looked up at the stars, and at the end of all of that, and I think I was just able to say to myself that no matter what I'm dealing with, this is all pretty insignificant, and we just don't really, compare to everything that's out there, none of us are particularly significant, and I think that it just got me through that moment. I continued therapy. I became, I think, a bit more comfortable with myself. It was a journey that continued many years. I guess I would still, it's still continuing. After Cornell, I slowly started coming out to people here, some good friends. I didn't act on my impulses, but at least not while I was here. But it was a process of coming to terms with that I was going to have a life that was very different than the one that I had imagined.